For most of us, a prescription is something you pick up at the pharmacy. But if you're a lawyer in South Africa, that word, well, it should send a chill down your spine. Because in the legal world, it's not just some deadline, it's a silent trap that can absolutely demolish your career before you even see it coming.
So, what are we actually talking about here? Put simply, prescription is the legal expiry date on a claim. For most typical claims, the Prescription Act says you have 3 years. And if you don't take the right legal action in that time, the claim is just gone. Legally, it's extinguished. And while that's the textbook definition, for the lawyer in charge of that file, the stakes are way, way higher. And that, right there, is the heart of the matter. For a lawyer, letting a claim prescribe isn't just about losing a case or missing a date on a calendar. It's a fundamental breakdown of your professional duty. It's the kind of mistake that can unravel everything you've worked for. So, how does one little mistake set off such a massive, catastrophic chain reaction? Well, it all starts with the very first domino to fall, the ethical breach. See, at its core, this whole thing is about breaking a sacred promise to your client. As a lawyer, you have what's called a fiduciary duty, a duty built on trust to always act in their best interest. And on top of that, the professional code of conduct demands you use a high level of care and skill. Letting a claim expire, that's a textbook failure on both counts. It's not a gray area, it is pure professional negligence. But here's the crazy part. The initial mistake, as bad as it is, often isn't the thing that ends your career. The real killer is what happens next. The lawyer has a choice: own up to the mistake or try to hide it. The first option is professional negligence, a really serious error. But the second path, the cover-up, that's viewed as dishonesty. And in the legal world, that is a far worse crime. It's the silence trap, and falling into it is basically a one-way ticket to disaster. So what happens when the client inevitably finds out? Oh, they don't just get upset and walk away, they complain. And that's the moment the official process of professional ruin kicks into gear. Once that complaint hits the desk of the Legal Practice Council, the LPC, it triggers a formal, structured investigation. And listen, the LPC doesn't just look at this one slip-up. No, they dive deep into the lawyer's entire practice. Did they have proper diary systems? Was there adequate supervision? It all leads to a formal hearing. And from that point on, it's all about the punishment. And those punishments cover a huge range. It might be a slap on the wrist with a reprimand or a really heavy fine. But if there was any dishonesty involved, that cover-up we were just talking about, the LPC can go to the High Court and ask to have the attorney suspended, or even worse, have them struck off the roll completely. And that's it. Game over. Career finished. Okay, so if the idea of losing your entire career isn't scary enough, let's talk about the money. Because it's not just one financial hit. It's what we can call the double blow. So blow number one is just brutal and simple. Your client lost their claim because of your mistake. So guess what? They can now turn around and sue you personally for the full value of that original claim. If their case was worth R1,000,000, you're now on the hook for R1,000,000. Right about now, you're probably thinking, but hey, that's what professional insurance is for. And you're right, every lawyer has indemnity insurance, but it is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. The insurance fund will still make the attorney pay a pretty big excess. Think of it like the deductible on your car insurance, straight out of their own pocket. So even when you're covered, this mistake is going to hit you right in the wallet. And the financial pain just keeps on coming. If an attorney makes this kind of mistake more than once, they start to look like a really high risk. The insurance fund can actually decide they're uninsurable. And if you can't get insurance, you can't practice in a law firm. It's a backdoor way of ending a legal career. Now, believe it or not, there's a final twist in this whole ethical minefield, and it's a bit surprising. The duty around prescription isn't just about protecting your own client. And once we get this, we can finally talk about the golden rule for avoiding this nightmare altogether. So here's the thing. Imagine you're on the other side. You're representing a defendant and you realize the claim being brought against your client has actually expired. It's prescribed. You now have an ethical duty to raise that point and get the case thrown out. A court can't just spot this on its own. It has to be formally raised. If you failed to do that, you could be negligent towards your own client. It's a huge responsibility on both sides of a case. This really lays out the whole web of risk, doesn't it? Just missing the date is negligence, hiding it is dishonesty, and that's where you get struck off.
If a junior staffer makes the mistake, the senior attorney is on the hook for bad supervision. And get this, even if you try to withdraw from a case, you could still be liable if you don't specifically warn the client about that upcoming prescription date. The liability just sticks to you.
Okay, listen up, because this might be the most important takeaway for any practicing attorney. When you take over a file from someone else, you inherit its entire history, including its ticking clock. Your very first duty is to check those prescription dates, because if that claim expires while you're holding the file, it doesn't matter who had it for the first 2 years. The liability, it almost always falls on you.
So how on earth do you survive all this? The golden rule is incredibly simple, but it is absolutely non-negotiable. You have to have a rock-solid system. A tickler system, which is just a fancy name for a great diary and reminder setup, is crucial for tracking every single date. The goal isn't just to meet the deadline, it's to beat it by a mile.
And this is the magic number. The accepted best practice in the legal community is to get that summons served at least 6 months before the final prescription date. That buffer is for any unexpected delays with the court or the sheriff. It's the safety net that can literally save your entire career.
All of this really leaves us with one final thought. We always imagine a lawyer's greatest battles are fought in some dramatic courtroom showdown. But as we've just seen, maybe the most dangerous, career-ending threat isn't loud at all. Maybe it's just a quiet little date on a calendar, silently ticking away.